Jonnicom.
Alright guys, I apologize for the mess of cat hair all over the floor. Today I have something a little different for you. I'm going to be doing an unboxing. I used to do videos like this on an old channel that I did, so let me know what you think about this. This is a package from Japan. This is something that I've wanted for years and, you know, just never was in a position to get. But one popped up on eBay and the price wasn't bad and it came with everything that I wanted, so I figured I'm going to go ahead and pull the trigger on it because it was a really good price. You know, about as much as I would pay for any other edition of this particular item. So I figured, you know, now's as good a time as ever. So I'm going to be opening this up. It's from Japan. I think I've removed all the labels I need to, but, you know, I'll be making cuts if there's anything. And of course, as always, remember to cut away from yourself. I'm not the happy console gamer. I won't tell you to do dangerous things. I always love when they seal boxes up almost too well and I can't get into them. I want to be really careful because what's in here has many elements that I don't want damaged. So I'm just trying to like be precise with my cuts and stabs. Okay, that seems like a good spot. More tape! Unbelievable. Yeah, let's not do that. Oh, I broke my own roll. I just cut towards myself. I hit my own finger with another finger and it really hurt. Alright, I'm not sure. Let me see if you can even see this on the camera right now. Oh yeah, we're good. I'm not sure if I pull this up if you're going to see what it is immediately, but if you're trying to guess, put your guess in the comments now. This is part of a video that I'm working on, so that's a big hint. Oh! You see that Sony logo? By now some of you might be figuring out exactly what this is. It's very nicely packed. You're probably already able to figure out what this is now, if you're familiar. I'm so glad to have this. This is so cool. As you can tell, obviously Final Fantasy 13. Probably heard me talk about this a couple of times now. Or maybe you haven't, but this is the Final Fantasy 13 Lightning Edition PlayStation 3 console. In the box, should have all the accessories in here as well, which I believe is a controller and just cables to hook it up. But 250 gigabyte model. I mean, when I saw that it had the box, I had to get it, and it's in pretty damn good shape. I mean, enough for me to be happy. This is a great display piece, but I do want to get the console out, so let's see if I can make that happen. It feels so weird to be opening up a PlayStation 3 like it's a new console. Yeah, it even has the manuals in the plastic wrap. Charger cable doesn't look official, but maybe it is. Oh, it might be actually. It's got a power cable. This is the HDMI, I think. Oh no, it even came with the AV cables. Oh my god. We might have to hook this up to the CRT. This is the controller. Just a basic white Dualshock 3. Which, actually, doesn't look like it's yellowed. If it hasn't yellowed that much. The sticks might need cleaned or replaced. They're kind of sticky. That happens with these Dualshocks. I think once we clean it up, it'll be fine. If not, I do have some replacement sticks that I can put on this. To the console, this is the one that I always... Okay, well that comes out like that. Oh man. Oh, he even wrapped up the console. That's very nice. Oh! Oh man, I can already tell this thing looks gorgeous. Did he tape it up? Yeah. Oh man, that is beautiful. Look at that. It's, oh man. Wow. All right, so that's the console, which is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, this thing is in pristine almost condition. A couple little scruffs and scraps that I think can probably actually just be wiped off. I don't even think they're really serious. I think it's just little little markings, and once you scrub them off, they'll be gone. This thing is almost like brand new, man. It's got everything. It doesn't look like it's been tampered with. It's not missing any, well, it looks like it's got replacement feet maybe. Unless that's how it came, but that's not a big deal. It feels like nobody played this thing. This thing feels brand new to me. It might have been played like once or twice and then never used again. So that's a beautiful little console there. Look at that. I'll try to straighten the camera up a little bit for you. Yeah, it did come with the white controller, which is really nice looking. But I figured it would look nicer paired with, a pink controller. There is an official, there's actually two Lightning Final Fantasy 13 controllers. They're extremely expensive. I'll probably never own them, but there's one that's black with Lightning on it. I think that came with 13.2 or 13.3. And there's one that's white like this, and it's got the Lightning graphic on the right side of the controller. I can't even find that one on eBay. Yeah, this thing came with pretty much everything that I need except for an HDMI cable, which I think is a little funny. Let me make sure that I didn't miss it in the box or something. Yeah, it's just not... Oh, wait a minute! Is that... Oh, look at that. It's a slip cover. It's not even part of the box. Okay, well that's actually kind of cool. You could really preserve it if you wanted to. I'm going to display the box as it is, so it'll stay on there, and I'll just wrap it up. But yeah, it came with everything that they would typically come with, which is really cool. Let's go ahead and hook it up. We have some AV cables here, so it's going to look absolutely awful, but it would be kind of funny if we just display that it works on the CRT, right? Something I almost missed, guys. It came with a Japanese copy of Final Fantasy 13 as well, which is cool. I already own the game, but it does have really cool box art, and it'll be cool to have a little piece to display with the box on the shelf, because I'm gonna play my copy that I have, but it came with everything. I mean, everything's in here, and I couldn't be more excited about this. This is so cool. All right, you can see me in the reflection of the CRT there. All right, we're testing this thing out on its maiden voyage. I'm gonna turn the TV on, gonna turn the console on, see if it needs to reconnect for a different video output, and see if everything works. So as we can see, we have no video output, but most people would freak out at this point. You only need to do that. And the reason for that is usually you just have to reset the video output for the console itself. So there you go. If you ever have that issue with the PlayStation 3, it's not outputting video, the first thing you want to do is turn it off, turn it back on, and hold the button when you do so, and wait for it to beep a second time. That's how you reset the video output. As you can see, seems to be working. Looks exactly as it should on a CRT TV, all in Japanese. So there's obviously ways to change this. I just gotta figure it out myself here. Hey, we found it. Beautiful. We're in English now. Let's go ahead and pop the game in. Make sure it works. Final Fantasy 13. There it is. Boost the volume a little bit. I think it's really cool that the power and eject buttons light up too. There is something really cool about watching these games boot up on a CRT. Okay. So we've identified one issue that I was almost certain we would see, which is the Dualshock having random inputs. That's caused by a ribbon cable inside of these things. We can fix that pretty easily, but it is pretty funny to see it in action here. Because this thing is just freaking out unless you hold it a specific way. So like I realize this isn't the best angle, but I've already set the camera up to record the next step of this process. I'm just gonna show you what exactly this does. So as you can see, the Dualshock is plugged into the console right now, and when you twist it, there are inputs happening on the screen. So you twist it and you see if you pull or something like that, there are inputs mostly on the D-pad and the stick that are happening on the screen behind you. You can see, if I move manually, fine, but when you're twisting it like this and the buttons are moving on their own, that means that the ribbon inside of here that connects all of the pads and everything, the connections from one board to another is not bad, but there's a piece of foam in there that causes these issues. I'm going to show it to you since I already talked about it, and it's a quick fix. Let's do it. All right, the only thing you need is a screwdriver that can get in there, some scissors, some electrical tape, color of your choosing. Mine's blue. You're gonna start by working these screws out. They can be a little bit of a pain. Just take your time with them. You don't want to strip them. Make sure you have a screwdriver that's the right size. There are 5 screws, one here, one here, one here. You can see it's the only holes on the back of the console. Do you really need me to point out where they're at? They don't always come out, but what I like to do once I've done that is just try to dump them out and hope that they all come out. In this case, only 2 did, and it was the 2 at the bottom. That's usually how it goes. But usually you can just pop this right off. When you open it up, the first thing that I would say is make sure you don't lift the battery too far. In this case, the battery is kind of already loose. Each Dualshock 3 is a little different on the inside, so be careful. They all have different ways of connecting boards and stuff. Some of them are more of a pain in the ass than others. Unfortunately, this looks like one of the ones that I don't like taking apart. As you can see, we're hung up on the R2 trigger here. That's why I don't like this model. Here we go. All right, so the piece that I'm talking about on this particular controller is actually harder to fix. It's not as easy as a 1-2 step. There's another screw right here at the bottom of this board. You just want to take that out very carefully. Usually, I didn't get it out all the way. Usually what I like to do at this point is take that screw, and in this case it's not coming out. This is why I hate this particular board. It's giving me all of the perfect examples of why I don't like it. You can take the battery out if you want to. I never do. I've never had any problems not doing so. Since I'm in here, I'll probably replace these sticks too, but this right here is your issue. So if you look underneath, we're just gonna pop this other little tab off there. You see there's 2 tabs. If you look very closely, I'll try to show it to you. There's 2 tabs that these holes flop over. You just got to pull them down a little bit and push them up, and it comes right up. This piece of foam here, this little black piece of foam right here, that's your issue. Over time it wears down, and you'll see when I get it out of here exactly what I mean. It wears down, and so it doesn't put as much pressure on that board as it should, so it can't press onto the contacts right here. And if you look closely here, you'll see, I don't know if the camera is going to try to focus or not. Let's see if we can make it happen. You'll see the lines on the foam here where it's been pushed into this little divot here. So what we're going to do is take it out, take some tape, just put it right over those grooves, and then we're going to put it top down, so the part that was previously facing the actual plastic that has the indents on, we're going to have that face up. So we're going to basically flip it over, have the tape side that we fixed now facing up, and that'll fix your issues with your controller. What I usually like to do here is just kind of eyeball it I'll usually cut a little bit more tape off than I need and just put it on there and then cut around it. You could also use like an X-Acto knife or something to really get it accurate. I've never had an issue doing it this way, so I've just continued to do so. This is a really easy, quick fix. I do suggest trying to use the original piece of foam that came with your controller. I would recommend not trying to cut your own piece of new foam unless you happen to know the specific type of foam that they use. In my experience with trying to cut my own foam pieces, it never goes in quite the same way, and you, if anything, make the problem you had, which is the random inputs, worse. So it's a very specific little piece of foam in a very specific position, and for some reason putting this little piece of tape on it is the fix. So what we're going to do is just slide that back in, tape side up. What I like to do is take the screwdriver and just, work it back in there. You can see it slides around quite a bit. So you want to make sure that it sits in the grooves it was in prior. You can do this with tweezers a little bit easier too. I just kind of get it in there, push it down, make sure it's not sliding around, and we're good. We're going to put that little ribbon cable back on to the two little holder pin things. I don't know what you call them, the plastic arms maybe. Push that down. Since I'm here, I'm going to change the sticks on mine too. You don't have to do this. I just like to change the analog caps just because I think it'll make it feel a little better. And you can buy brand new analog stick caps all over eBay and Amazon. Pick the ones you like. Make sure they're on there, they're working. All right. Pretty simple from here. As long as you didn't knock any of these buttons off, the only thing you really need to do, flip that back on there, flip that over. You want to line this up right. It's a little bit of a pain to get things lined up the right way because you've got these plastic bits. You just kind of got to work around it. Just be patient. Eventually things will just kind of slide into place on their own. Just don't force anything and it'll happen. This darn screw that didn't want to come out earlier is the source of my issues. There we go. That made it easier. All right, so one thing to look out for when you do this too is these R2 and L2 triggers. They have these little tiny slots they sit in that they pop out of really easily, and if you don't put them in right, your buttons aren't going to feel right when you get it all together, and your controller probably won't go back together right either. So just something to look out for in there. Make sure that the R2 and L2, housing shell part is actually in the little slots on the sides there. Just something to look out for. All right, I heard that little satisfying click, which means that everything is in place. I'm gonna put this little screw back in and tighten that up. Now, something important here, don't tighten this screw too much. I'll tell you why. In my experience, this screw will determine how well your L3 and R3 work. If you over tighten it, then you'll have some issues with L3 and R3 clicking when you're pressing a direction, specifically up, which is used to sprint in a lot of games. So usually, what I like to do is you'll see it flush there, kinda. Well, you can't see it right now, but you'll see it flush with the board. I don't like it to push down on that board against that plastic barrier. So I usually give it about a quarter to a half turn back, sometimes a full turn. And what I like to see is just a little bit of give between the board and the plastic that holds that screw in. Because when you tighten this up anyway, and I need mine just a little tighter, when you tighten this back up with all the other stuff, it's gonna push down anyway. There's pads and stuff in here that are made to do that. So don't over tighten that screw is the best piece of advice I can give you. Put your battery in there. In this case, it's one of the battery holders that I hate, but at this point, make sure your buttons are working the way they're supposed to. Something feels weird about my L1 here, and it's because, like I was talking about earlier, my thing popped out, and so it's loose, you can tell. So we need to make sure that without ripping it, because there is a ribbon cable holding that, you want to make sure you get it into the divots right. It is a pain in the ass, but you can do it, just trust me. Slightly lift that up. I'm going to get my L1 in here. But not impossible, just tedious would be my answer to why I don't like doing them. Because see, as far as I can see, everything's sitting in there right, but that L1 and R1 still that L1 doesn't want to work right. If for some reason your L2 or R2 does pop off, you'll see a little, God, again, terrible camera focusing quality here, but you'll see a little spring on there. All you want to do is have that spring pushing against this little plastic piece here as you put it on, and just kind of angle it so that it sits right in there, and then you're clicking that bar onto those. And you're good to go, and now everything's good with mine. I'm gonna retighten this one more time. When you put this back on, go at an angle. So if you're looking at your controller like this, start at the top, get your L2 and R2 to pop through, turn it around, make sure that that little clip goes over the battery, and then the fun part, looking for the clicks. Once you hear all that clicking happen, and the screws falling out after you didn't try to get them out, you can screw it all back together. So you might have noticed I didn't test it before I put it all back together. That's because what you'll find if you do that is even while you're doing that, you'll see the random button inputs still happening. It'll happen as long as the controller isn't put together properly. So when I turn this back on, I should be able to show you the screen. Everything should be working. That piece of tape that we put on there should have fixed the inputs, and we should no longer have random button presses when we twist it or do anything else. So let's find out. Turning it on, it should connect with the console because it's already been connected to it. There we go. Hey, look at that. It's working. And I'm getting no random inputs, no matter what squeezing I do, nothing. It's fixed. Isn't that neat? Super quick fix. So yeah, overall I'm very happy with this thing. I'm definitely looking forward to actually playing through Final Fantasy 13 on it. I'm gonna pick up copies of the other two games too, because I've never played those, and I've actually never beaten Final Fantasy 13 on my own. I've played through it and watched with a friend, but I've never beaten it on my own, so I think I'm gonna give that a try. Now that there's plenty of really good guides online, I think it's time we finally settle the score here with Final Fantasy 13, especially now that we have a super cool console to play it on. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you soon.